One of the key points that we need to remember about the whole purpose and the goal of the God's Child Project is that we are here to educate the boys and the girls. We need to teach our children to dream, because when they have dreams, they have something to look forward to. And it is only when they have something to look forward to that they have a reason to follow civil, natural, and spiritual law. That is the heart and that is the crux of why we do what we do in the God's Child Project and at the Dreamer Center. Is that we are open to all people of all faiths. What you're looking at today is the union of 22 different pieces of property. Our goal was to create the Dreamer Center so beautifully that somebody who is blind and nonverbal, non-hearing, would be able to come in and just be, and immediately know that they are in the presence of God. The properties themselves were built by the mothers, the children, and the team members of the God's Child Project and the Asociación Nuestros, Ahijados. The initial purchase of the Dreamer Center was one piece of property, which is right here where the clinic is. The clinic and the Walsh Hall is. That's why it has such a strange shape, this building, because we bought this piece of property and built out to the end of the property, leaving just 1 yard between the end of the building and the end of the property. We left that yard so that we could have green space for plants, windows, light, and ventilation. We have this beautiful sanctuary, this island of peace in the midst of a very dangerous and violent neighborhood. It is not luxurious. Look at the buildings. Basic square, poured concrete block. The boys and girls who come to the Dreamer Center are extremely poor. We've done polls before. 90% of the girls and 75% of the boys will be victims of sexual abuse before they reach the age of 16. Almost all of them come from single-parent families. Many of them are completely orphaned or abandoned. Many of them have been thrown into the streets by their families simply because they could not feed them. We have all people of all faiths who come to us to derive services of health, education, nutrition, personal development, legal assistance, and spiritual growth. Two very important pieces of the Dreamer Center that you will immediately notice is that first, every room has cross ventilation and natural lighting. No matter where you're standing in the Dreamer Center, you're going to find water and you're going to hear water that is falling in the background. This creates a white noise which allows privacy islands for quiet conversations, and it also relaxes you. I used to spend my Saturdays and Sundays going around and planting so many of these plants, particularly the perimeter bougainvillea. Every one of those I planted myself because that's how I relaxed, but I also realized it was a labor of love that one day, and today's the day, was going to give benefit through the beauty and the life and the oxygen that it creates here in this little sanctuary. During the different phases of construction of the different buildings and parks and sidewalks of the Dreamer Center, we've never had any money really to work with. We had one initial grant from Dreamer Ministries of Plano, Texas, and that's what we bought the first piece of property with. After that, every building, every sidewalk, every garden has been sponsored by a group, a charity, a church, or a family. The Dreamer Center, as you go around, has been built with the love, commitment, and dedication of people who truly care about the well-being, health, and education of these very poor boys and girls. When we decided to build a chapel at the Dreamer Center, we knew we wanted it to be open. There are no doors or windows on this chapel. We knew we wanted it to be beautiful, and we knew that even though it was going to be in the middle of a very busy, very noisy complex, we wanted it to be a place of silence and meditation. So I designed it to be like a grotto, a cave. We took a flat piece of land and we sloped it up going in and then sloped it back down once you got past the entrance, so you got the impression of going into Mother Earth, of going into a cave. We built it all out of local stone. We put a fountain in the beginning, we put a fountain at the end, so you'd always hear falling water. The falling water to cover the sound of the soccer game that might be taking place 15 feet outside of the chapel window. And it would also give you a place to come if you wanted to cry, to pray as a group, to do readings, to have a class. As much as it might surprise a lot of people, my greatest fear for the Dreamer Center has to do with its physical integrity. One of my greatest fears is that we need to protect the integrity and the sanctuary and the safety of the Dreamer Center so that by one pretext or another it is not taken from us. It's an ongoing struggle and battle in my mind of how do we protect and strengthen the legal integrity of the Dreamer Center. As we bring together people from all nations and all countries, from around the world, who have the desire and the passion to care for and educate and break poor and orphaned children out of poverty. This is that base from which tens of thousands of lives have been changed by thousands of volunteers from dozens of countries. This is a social change agent, not just affecting this town, but the world. I'm quite frequently asked how I can continue to do this work year after year, decade after decade. I mean, my original commitment was for 6 months, and it's now been nearly 30 years. There's a secret to it, and that secret's twofold. First of all, is I count my victories one by one, to look at the greater social work that we're doing, the greater social scale of breaking poverty, stopping hunger, clothing the naked, feeding the poor, and righting injustices. That's what we work for. But I'm not going to find my victories there because those problems will always be with us. What helps me to sleep at night is to reflect back and count the victories. Today I fed 800 children. Today we did child advocacy that took 3 children out of abusive situations and got them into foster care. Today I got clothing to 400 children out in a village. That's more than many people do in weeks, months, maybe years. But we did that today, so it was a good day. Tomorrow I start over. We're going to work to right the injustices, feed the hungry, educate the undereducated, and house the homeless. But again, you count your victories one by one by one. I look at Christ within them. And I say, what I'm dealing with here is not this man or this woman or this child. I'm dealing with the Christ within that person who has been, whose body, whose embodiment has been so damaged and hurt that they are reflecting this pain, this anger, this poverty, this bitterness. That's who I work with, is the Christ within. What you see here in the Dreamer Center and the whole philosophy of the God's Child Project is that we never have enough money. We are always within $2,000 and $3,000 of not being able to pay the bills. We are always struggling on this never-ending treadmill on Tuesday to pay the bills on Thursday. But in spite of that, we realize that the boys and the girls that we have with us are as if they were hijos propios, children of our own flesh and blood, sent to us by God to raise, to care for, and to educate. And we are going to have them happy, clean, and well-educated. Boys and girls should be happy. They should be clean. Each child deserves that. We need your help. We need your help, whether it's a $10 donation or a $10,000 donation, whether it's a corporate donation. If I can come speak to your group, your charity, your church, let me know. I'll fly anywhere. If you can come and help the boys and girls of the God's Child Project here at the Dreamer Center, please do. We need you. One thing everybody can do is to pray. Help the boys and girls of the God's Child Project with your love, your support, and your prayers. We desperately need you, and we need your help now.